Alright, here's a couple of the games I got. Friends sent me to get signed for him if I could. Sakura-Con. I only managed to get My Neighbor Totoro signed by Sumi Shimamoto, the voice of the mom in My Neighbor Totoro. He also sent me Grandia 3 and Tales of the Abyss, but I just couldn't get everything signed. It was a little crazy. Honestly, I had a handful of stuff I didn't get signed either. I had 3 items for Yong Bosch. I had a Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together. I want to say this is Naruto 3, and Devil May Cry 4, where he plays the voice of Nero. I wanted to get all these signed by Yong Bosch, and I had a few items for Bryce Papenbrook I didn't get around to. The Shin Megami Tensei 4 limited edition box set, strategy and design book, wanted him to sign for Izakar, a character he played the voice of. And then Jack Russell in Radiata Stories on the PlayStation 2, he played the main character. But yeah, man, I had so much stuff. But you know what? I also got a whole lot of stuff signed, too. Just a little peek. We'll get into this in just a minute. I'll get out my fancy camera.
Hey everybody, this is Tyler, aka Blue Mage 492, aka Grand Lethal 16, coming at you with my Post-SakuraCon2015 commentary. And again, I titled this one Work Hard, Play Hard, Sleep Hard. SakuraCon this year was probably the coolest event I've ever been out of any convention, anime convention in the past, even PAX. I had a plan in place, I was super organized, and I made out like a bandit. Now, you just got done seeing a little bit of my video of the things I didn't get signed. And I'm going to tell you right now, I showed you like 4 items, maybe 5 or 6 items that didn't get signed by voice talent or animators or directors of series big video game franchises. But on the other side of things, I got 32 items. Yes, 32 items signed this year, which is crazy, right? When I look back, I don't even know how I did it. I mean, I'm gonna put out a video because people have been asking me, how do you do it, man? And I'm ready to share with you guys my secrets, how I make it happen, so you can learn how to get the most of your favorite video games autographed by some of this awesome voice talent that's out there. Because again, it is possible. It's a lot easier than you think. It's all about organization. And I mean, there's other things, but that's the main one, is organization and planning. So yeah, it was pretty amazing. I'm exhausted. I mean, you don't see it right now, but I'm pushing to put that energy out there. So what to talk about? Okay. Of course, I got 32 plus items autographed. I got 3 freestyle recordings by voice talent. Rachel Robinson, Yong Bosch, and Christopher Bevins. I got a little bit of quick freestyle from them. You know, we're going to get back to SakuraCon in just a minute, but I'm going to back up to the day I registered, which was the day before. The second, I was in Seattle. I actually was lucky enough to go to HBO Night Game of Thrones advanced screening. They also showed the first episode of the new season of Veep and Silicon Valley, one of my favorite HBO shows right now. It was a ton of fun. I unfortunately didn't have anyone to take my +1 with, but I still had a good time. Saw a lot of my coworkers. As you know, I work for a cable company, so I did have the opportunity to reap the benefits of those relationships we built with these premium movie network. All 3 episodes were interesting. Veep was hilarious. I'm shocked I've never watched it before. Silicon Valley, of course, did not disappoint. And Game of Thrones blew my mind. They had actually a Game of Thrones beer that had been made just for the event, which they had unlimited drinks until it ran out. So it was a good night. So SakuraCon started, of course, Friday of Easter weekend, I believe the 3rd of April. I registered the day before. And then, of course, you know, last year, as I mentioned before, I had a hotel. I explored Seattle with my girlfriend, had a great time. And I missed a ton of people. Like, there's a lot of people who had panels, and I missed the panels. I missed the video game tournaments and some autograph sessions, which made me pretty sad. This year, my goals were all focused around getting as many of my favorite games signed as possible. And I also wanted to get some freestyle, because Todd Habercorn gave me that idea when he freestyled last year. I want to do that. That's pretty cool. It's a ton of fun, and I love being able to share it with all of you folks. I prepped my games to be autographed early. I memorized bus times because I did not take a hotel this time. I busted up every day, or I drove. And I hit up some of my buddies to see who was going to be there, to see if I could get them to help me get things signed. Day 1, my goal on day 1 was to get as much signed as possible to take pressure and stress off the next couple of days. So my goal was to get 2/3, half everything signed. I knew that Vic Mignogna, I knew that Rachel Robinson, and Christopher Bevins, Bryce Papenbrook, Yong Bosch would all be autographing things that day. So my goal was just to get everything I possibly could autographed the first day, get it done with, and alleviate that pressure. One of the cool things I noticed is Christopher Bevins, who was supposed to be the earliest guy to sign autographs, he went a little later. His time slot got switched from 1st to 2nd. So instead of being at 11 a.m. and having Rachel Robinson at noon, he switched to the noon slot, and she switched to 11. Fortunately, I was there early enough regardless. Someone told me about the switch because there's a guidebook app which people use at SakuraCon. Totally going to use that app from now on. It saved my life. That's an endorsement. 2 thumbs up And I'd recommend it for anybody. I guess they do a ton of conventions and stuff. As I was saying, though, Rachel Robinson, I brought her a couple of my Final Fantasy 13 games. I believe I brought her Final Fantasy 13-2, Final Fantasy 13. I brought her my Bravely Default limited edition art book because she did the voice of Holly White. She signed all three. I talked to her. It was pretty cool. We took some pictures. Afterwards, let's see, the Bryce Papenbrook line was crazy. Christopher Bevins first. He did some freestyle for me. He signed both my Street Fighter games that he did the voice of Dalsim for. You know, he signed the art book. He did some freestyle yoga catastrophe, which I love. I put it up. Again, it's in that description right down there. Check it out. Definitely. I might even pop in a little link to it or something on the side here. We'll see. We'll see, though. Then I got to meet Bryce Papenbrook. When I was in the Bryce Papenbrook line, I actually called some of my friends over to help me get multiple games signed because I have a lot of stuff for him. I did not manage to get into the Johnny Young Bosch line the first day. I did get the Vic Mignogna. He was actually doing 3 lines, one each day. And then, of course, he pulled like 3 lines worth of people anyway. He comes every other year. People go crazy when he shows up. Vic Mignogna was a ton of fun. He was over the top. So was Bryce Papenbrook. Bryce Papenbrook was funny because he noticed that I had a ton of games, and I knew his alias, which in Star Ocean First Departure was Dick Smallberries Jr., which I'll talk about later in the video. And he was just dying. He was like, dude, don't tell nobody. That's a secret. I don't even know how you knew. I'm like, man, I hit that Wikipedia page. You can find out anything on there. I believe I got to meet David Vincent day 1 as well, but I can't remember for sure. The whole event was so crazy. He signed a ton of my games as well. He did the voice of T-Hawk. Didn't think of asking him to do any freestyle at the time. I really should have. However, I think he's going to be at FreeStyle Labor Day weekend, so I might be able to meet him. Day 1 ended pretty standard. I got about, let's see, maybe 16, 17 things signed day 1. A lot of standing on my feet, a lot of walking. Honestly, I ate convention food more than I meant to, but it was okay. You know, I was coming back to Sakura-Con. I was happy. I was getting my games autographed. I took pictures. I got to meet up with friends I hadn't seen for a couple months because, again, business has been a little crazy, especially at work. Extracurriculars, so to speak. I'm dying here. Day 2. Let's get into day 2 now. That was when a lot of the Japanese guests got in. So I got to meet the director of Blaze Blue. I'd already met David Vincent, I believe, the first day, but I got to meet the Japanese director. I got to meet a couple of Japanese voice actresses near the end of day 2. I knew Vic Mignogna would be there later again that day, so I went into his lines at the end of the day to get the rest of my stuff signed. See, Johnny Young Bosch did the first and last. I think Bryce Papenbrook had another signature session. Who else did I meet day 2? I think I did a lot of the Japanese voices. I met Sumi Shimamoto that day. I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble remembering. There were so many people I met. I did a lot of the Japanese guests, though. The Wit Studio guys, Sumi Shimamoto, and then, of course, Vic Mignogna again. I just took care of business. I got a ton more autographs. Day 2 was a lot more busy than I'm telling you right now. It was meeting the same people over again, hanging out with my friends. Got to hang out to more events, got to go to some of the video game tournaments. Didn't join a lot, but I got to watch a ton of them, which is a big change from last year. Now, again, there was a little stress knowing I had to either catch a ride or take a bus, but it wasn't that bad, honestly. Did I have any criticisms about day 2? No, not really. I mean, by the end of day 2, I was exhausted. Day 3, I remember waking up and I was just all like, I'm done. I am not going in today. I know I didn't get to meet Johnny Young Bosch, but I'm exhausted. Fortunately, I changed my mind. I went back through the line, and I got to meet him. I think I was at the front of his line because I prepped it. I got better. Every day I went back, and I got a little bit better. I got better at finding alternate routes in, how to get around those lines so I could be the front of lines. I was the front of at least 4 or 5 lines throughout the 3-day session. People volunteer were like, dude, how do you do it? And again, I said, I'm going to make a video about it. You know, I'll talk about that a little later on in a different video. And I got to meet Vic Mignogna. Third time I asked if he could do some freestyle. He was like, no, I'm too tired, bro. He was one of the last ones of the day, and he has 3 lines. I think he had 2 that day, though. Johnny Young Bosch. I went through his line twice. I went near the beginning, and then I slipped in later. I snuck back in, honestly. Shame on me. And then, of course, Rachel Robinson. I got freestyle this day from her because I had some more Final Fantasy 13 games to have signed. I just figured I'd get them signed since I had the spare time. She was pretty cool. I didn't get back into the Bryce Papenbrook line the second day. It was too exhausting. The Johnny Young Bosch line was going to be too crazy to hop over because sometimes I'll have a friend like stay on the other line and I'll hop back and forth. I just couldn't manage it. But I did get Sumi Shimamoto to sign my friend's My Neighbor Totoro. So that was definitely a thumbs up. Everything I've learned at AkiCon this last year, SakuraCon and PAX has really just helped me synthesize how I get all my stuff signed, how I meet all these cool people. And so there's a lot less to talk about than usual. I mean, I didn't even play my 3DS there. I was playing Final Fantasy X HD Remastered on the PS Vita. I got to meet a ton of people. I see a lot of new faces on my subscriber list. A lot of you folks have added since SakuraCon, so welcome to all of you. Of course, you know, I don't really have as much criticism. I mean, after AkiCon, this was a breath of fresh air. Didn't play as many video games as I like, but I did play a good amount. Got to meet some voice actors that were pretty cool. Honestly, my Fire Emblem is looking like a last page of a yearbook. Street Fighter's coming along pretty well too. Of course, I'm never going to sell these, but it's cool to show them to your friends. It's cool to show them to all of you as well. And now we're going to get over to that other camera, and I'm going to show you all the stuff I got autographed. All right, and now we make it over to the Layer of Doom. I got all these games ready for you to check out now. I got so many things autographed. I got drawings up here autographed. I got more descriptions. I've got this bad boy collected another 3 autographs on it, as well as other items. So I'm going to go a little faster because I don't want to keep you here all day. First, we'll start, of course, with Fire Emblem Awakening. David Vincent signed the outside. He did the voice of Robin, otherwise known as the first voice for the Avatar. And I also added, he signed the inside. And then Bryce Pappenbrook signed for Henry's voice. Had to start out with Fire Emblem. I think I'm going to finish up with Tales of the Abyss or Blaze Blue. So I'm going to start and end on a strong note. Really quick, I'm going to get this one out of the way as well. So I got 3 signatures added to my awesome Street Fighter art book and my copy of Street Fighter 4, or Super Street Fighter 4. First, I got Christopher Bevins, the voice of Dhalsim. He signed right there. He actually wrote Yoga Autograph. Let's see, I know I got a couple more. I got T-Hawk. David Vincent does the voice of T-Hawk, as well as martial law, which we'll cover a little later. And then, of course, Yong Bosch does the voice of Yang. Next, we'll get back to the games. Star Ocean First Departure, I got Vic Mignogna to sign. He did the voice of Tanique, that Chinese Kung Fu werewolf kid. Bam. And then also Bryce Pappenbrook, Dorn Murtaugh. Murtuff? I don't know. Murtuff. More tough. That's what I'm going to call it. And the funny thing about it is it says voiced by Dick Smallberries Jr., but that's an alias he used back in the day when he was just starting out. He was just playing around with that. Wild Arms. Bryce Pappenbrook did the voice of Levin, so I got him to sign the inside my Wild Arms case. Another game I love from my PSP days. And of course, I added Rachel Robinson, voice of Celsius, to my Tales of Exilia. Starting to look like a yearbook here. Of course, she also did the voice of Fang in Final Fantasy 13, so I had to get her in here. I'm just going to use this as another version of a yearbook. We got Snow's picture, so I'll have to have Troy Baker sign over here someday. Of course, Tales of Grace is F. I was lucky enough to get David Vincent, the voice of Richard, to sign, as well as Bryce Pappenbrook, the voice of Asbel Lant. Now, Tales of Grace's F is in my top 3 favorite Tales of games to date. The other ones being Abyss and, of course, well, actually, I'd say Vesperia is probably 3rd in there. So I'm very happy. I mean, I've played so many hours of Graces. Having his voice is pretty cool. Or the voice actor for Asbel and Richard signing it. Persona 3 FES. Vic Mignogna did the voice of Junpei Iori. And he just had to scrawl out his name there. It was pretty badass, too. Bryce Pappenbrook did the voice of Tiz Arier. He signed right there. And then Rachel Robinson does the voice of Holly White. She did the voice of the White Mage, who had a really smart mouth, kind of sadistic, kind of sultry voice. It was pretty funny. Of course, Unlimited Saga. If you haven't played this game on the PS2, it is definitely worth the hours. And it also happens to be the first game that Vic Mignogna ever voice acted for on the video game side of things. So you know I had to dig this out and get him to sign it as well. Alright, we're done with one stack. Let's get into the second one now. Start out with Super Smash Bros. 3DS. Hold on, brace yourself. I got a lot of games in this one. I keep all my Pokemon games in it. Alright, they didn't pop out. And of course, David Vincent, voice of Robin, had to get him to sign the 3DS version. Castlevania. I already had Yuri Lowenthal's voice. He did the voice of Alucard. Now I added David Vincent, who did the voice of Richter Belmont. Right up there. This is a really pretty inside artwork. I've greatly considered using this as where I have all the voice actors signed from now on. It'd be pretty cool. Street Fighter Cross Tekken. David Vincent does the voice of martial law. So I got him to sign right here next to Christopher Corey Smith. Of course, got Tekken 6 signed because David Vincent does the voice of martial law. So I got him to sign both. It's probably right inside the inside cover or somewhere. Right there. Bam. Around here somewhere up. Oh, I did in English. I'm going to sign this bad boy in English. Where is it? Right there. And of course he did the voice of Elliot in Dead or Alive 5. I'm going to sign right on the inside cover. My first autograph on Dead or Alive 5. Vic Mignogna, known infamously for doing the voice of Edward Elric in Full Metal Alchemist. Got him to sign both my copies for the PlayStation 2. Number 1, sign right there. Number 2, he signed right here.
And then Dissidia, Square's few fighting games. I got Sumi Shimamoto to sign. She does the Japanese voice for Cosmos. And then I also got Bryce Papenbrook to sign the voice of Zidane. Now, Johnny Yong Bosch does the voice of Furion, but I was unfortunately not able to get him to autograph this. The amount of people that were waiting in his line were just a little too extensive. It got a little crazy. But I did get him to sign as the voice of Zero in Marvel vs. Capcom. Right next to Tarplat, signed for Trombone there. It's becoming quite a collection. I'm loving the way this is kind of fleshing out. Of course, Rachel Robinson, got her to sign. Final Fantasy 13 too. Johnny Yong Bosch does the voice of Almaz. Hold on, I'm going to mess up his full name, so I'm just going to read it. Johnny Yong Bosch does the voice of the hero stuck in the demon realm, Almaz von Almendine Adamant. One of my favorite characters. I love how he's the first actual interesting spear user to me. Sorry, Ed, and I just didn't find you too entertaining, but Almaz, he's funny. He makes a good spear user. He's got great abilities, great range, and his personality and his character is hilarious. Johnny did a great job at him. I actually got Johnny to do some freestyle. I got him to do some of Yang's win quotes. So the quotes you see at the end of a Street Fighter 4 match when you win, I got him to read some of them in Yang's voice. Alright, he also did the voice of Emil in Tales of Symphonia 2, Dawn of the New World. I believe he also did the main protagonist in Persona 4. Yes, he did the main voice of the protagonist in Persona 4, the anime, and also the voice of Adachi, who turns out to be the antagonist of the entire game. Got her to sign the mini little guide right next to this awesome picture of Fang. Rachel Robinson I did get freestyle from as well. She did a couple of the sayings Fang says from Final Fantasy 13. If you want to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description area below. Hey, check out all three. Check out the Christopher Bevins, him doing some Dalzim. Check out Rachel Robinson and check out Johnny Yong Bosch. They're pretty awesome. A lot of people have been showing it love. Hey, get in on it. I don't want you to miss out. I'm not probably going to take it down, of course, but hey, it's awesome. You may as well check it out. Here's the other place I had all the Street Fighter voice actors autograph. Of course, there's Christopher Bevins. Sorry, the more filled this gets, the harder it gets to remember where things are. There's David Vincent, voice of T-Hawk. And of course, Johnny Yong Bosch, voice of Yang. And then Blaze Blue. Actually, I'm going to say Blaze Blue for last, and I'm going to go ahead to Tales of the Abyss. Johnny Yong Bosch does the voice of Guy Cecil, Tales of the Abyss. I got him to sign right there next to his character. That's what's up. Tales of the Abyss, of course, one of my favorite of the three Tales of games in the franchise. I was hoping to meet Troy Baker to get him to sign my Tales of Vesperia since he did the voice of Yuri Loa, but I missed out, so that's on my to-do list still. And just to make sure people don't think I'm crazy, I gotta stress again, I do this because I'm passionate about video games, and I love getting the most of the experience in all facets to do with video games. The creation side, the creative, and of course, the people who bring life to these games by lending their voice, their talent, and their style. I mean, it really just gives it that 3D definition, of course, you know, makes it jump off the page of script. Of course, this is Blaze Blue, Chrono Phantasma, not extended, though I did get to play it, which I mentioned a little earlier. But anyway, I got the voice actor for Jean, David Vincent, to sign, and then I got Toshimori, the director of Blaze Blue, to sign, as well as two of the Japanese female voice actors. I'm going to mess up their names, so I'm going to put in captions. You'll see it right about now. I think one of them did the voice of Rachel Alucard, and the other one did Noelle Valentine. I hope I'm correct. Sorry if I'm wrong, but this is amazing. I mean, I'm not a big Blaze Blue fan, but this is insane. Alright, that just about covers everything I got signed. I'll finish up the last two. Toshimori, the director of Blaze Blue, sketched this out for me. I said Gene, and he sketched it. I meant to have David Vincent sign up here. I'll never sell it, but it'd be pretty cool to have it just as a collector's thing. This is one he did a quick sketch of Ragna, and then David Vincent signed it. Hopefully I can get an artist, or if Toshimori ever comes back and I can have him sketch Gene on this, I'll probably give one of these away. If I get two of them, I'm going to give one away to you guys. Number of the artists and animation guys from Wit Studio, the folks that brought you the action sequences for Attack on Titan. Uh-oh, it's too close. Give me just a minute. Bump this back. They have this new anime called Rolling Girls, and they did some artwork for it. Straight up, I was like, hey, here's a board. Show me what you got. And they did some pretty cool stuff. They just did this in a matter of seconds. I'm a little envious of this artwork, but this was pretty cool. Again, I hope you loved everything you saw here. If you have any questions about anything I got signed or anything that happened at the convention, of course, hit me up. Leave it in the comments below. Of course, I'll leave a lot of information in the description. As you ask, I will give you more information. I'll do a follow-up video if you like. I know this video is a little long. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Of course, like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Take it easy.